Good day, viewers, and welcome to another OnsideSA soccer show. Paul is unfortunately feeling under the weather this morning, and joining us from his Fulham studio in the UK is our regular correspondent, Stevie Braham. We will be discussing the transfer activity in the Premiership, the review of the England-Germany game, and I will give you my thoughts on the Morocco-Bafana game and the PSL promotion situation. We now cross over to Steve in the UK. Steve, good morning.
Morning, Bash. How you doing?
Yeah, no complaints. Steve, transfer activity, a lot of back and forth about the Sadio Mane, the Bayern Munich situation. What's the latest?
Well, last I heard is that Bayern have come back with a second bid that Liverpool have rejected.
Okay.
I don't know all the terms of it, but Liverpool obviously, want a bit more. I get the impression that he wants to go, and I think Liverpool, if they can replace him, are happy enough to do that.
Yeah, I saw something on the news that the add-ons could be the trick. They've offered $6.5 million, but he has to win the Ballon d'Or 3 times and the Champions League 3 times. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, the trouble is some of these deals get quite complicated. I think Liverpool want to keep it a bit simpler and want the cash, because they obviously, they're being linked with Darwin Núñez. Cost them a huge amount more. Yeah. So I think that they're looking for a sort of bigger cash. It's not as if Sane has to prove him. Mane has to prove himself. I mean, it's like they know what they're going to get. So I think that will happen. If a player has already intimated that he's not 100% committed, I think Liverpool will definitely want to let him go.
Yeah,
somebody else in.
Totally agree. Romelu Lukaku. Read somewhere, Steve, that Inter Milan want to take him back on loan. Surely Chelsea won't agree to that.
Yeah, well, it really depends. I mean, look, Inter Milan haven't got the money to buy him. There's no question.
Yeah.
Chelsea obviously paid a huge amount for him, and Inter haven't got that sort of money. It does make you wonder why Chelsea would allow that. But if he's really unhappy, and presumably the powers that be will be the ones that decide, and will have to then give Thomas Tuchel the funds to be able to bring somebody else in to replace.
Yeah.
So the press in Italy is full of him wanting to come back. We haven't heard from him, but it seems to be that he does want to go back, and so would like him. They'll have to pay his wages and a hefty loan fee. But, I think that's one that will rumble on, but could well happen if Chelsea find they can get a replacement.
Yeah, be interesting to see if Lautaro Martinez comes the other way of some part of loan deal, but I think that'll be an interesting one, especially for the new owner who's just taken over the club. I'm sure the supporters will be up in arms if nobody comes in. Steve, a couple of deals that went... Sorry, yeah?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think you're right. I think the new owner will be, having lost Rudiger, they can't start losing all their top players. They'll have a job to replace them all and improve the squad as well. Yeah,
no, I think it'll be interesting times at Stamford Bridge. Steve, a couple of deals that did go through. Fraser Foster went to Spurs. I like the signing of Matt Taggart to Newcastle. And I see Lacazette signed for Lyon.
Yeah, I mean, I think that could see he obviously wasn't going to be a regular at Arsenal. I think Arteta was, made it fairly obvious that he could go, and that's probably a good signing for him and for Lyon. They obviously got a good experience. Newcastle obviously decided that Matt Targett was one of the key players in helping them stay up. I understand he signed going to be a 4-year deal, which he's probably quite happy about. I was wondering whether or not they would actually bring a bigger name in, but I think that they're building a squad, so it wouldn't be at all surprised they still had maybe more cover on the left side anyway. Yeah. And then Foster, well, I'm obviously a very experienced goalkeeper. Good cover for Lloris. Obviously, they're not going to go now after. It's hard because player isn't going to necessarily want to come and sit on the bench. Yeah. So I think Fraser Foster's obviously happy enough with that. Would certainly get to play some of the cup games. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's a far better move for him than playing behind that Southampton back line. But Steve, England, Germany in midweek, from my thoughts, I thought game of two halves, or the Germans were really all over England in the first half, and England fought back in the second half, and I thought deserved a draw in the end. How did you see it?
Yeah, No, I agree totally. I thought when they brought Jack Grealish on, certainly. I mean, he was determined, ran at them, created one of the chances. Obviously, Harry Kane had a incredible chance, big save by Neuer before he got the penalty. And I think you're right. I think in the end it was a deserved point. I think England need that. They go in now with a bit more confidence when they play Italy the weekend.
Do you think Grealish will start?
Well, I mean, he certainly sort of showed that what he can do. Whether or not he can do that from the start, or he's better off coming on. But I think that maybe Gareth might want to sort of just change it a little bit.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be unhappy if he did start. If he can play, from the beginning like he did when he came on. England, have got to go for it. There's no point sort of sitting back. They don't want to finish bottom of the group. But I know they've got more games to go, but they've got to win their home games, England. Yeah. It's a game that's going to play effectively behind club stores at Molineux.
Okay.
Only a couple of thousand have allowed in, which is sort of a bit sort of contradictory to what Hungary is playing behind closed doors. They had 30,000 in the stadium, which makes a mockery of the UEFA penalty. But England are allowing a number of children to come in with an adult, and I think they've limited it at about 2,000. So the atmosphere, there won't be much atmosphere, but whether or not that doesn't really help England, I suspect.
Yeah. Okay. Steve, there's a few games on tonight. We'll just go through them quickly. Interesting to see Portugal, they dismantled Switzerland. You think they'll be too good for the Czech Republic?
I think they will be. The Czechs have had a couple of good results, but I think Portugal will be too strong.
Yeah,
they had a strong team out, and I think they will again. So I fancy Portugal to win that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if Ronaldo starts again. Switzerland against Spain?
Well, Switzerland have lost their games, have drawn. I think that Spain will probably still be favourites, so I think they'll edge it, but it will be close.
Yeah, I watched both Spain games, just like England, they don't look too good. Norway, Slovenia. Norway started off with 2 wins. You think they'll get the third?
I think they will. I mean, Erling Haaland is obviously showing what Man City and the Premier League are going to look forward to. I think they will be too strong at home.
Yeah, I agree. And I think this will be a good game. Sweden hosting Serbia. How do you see that going?
Yeah, and I think it will be a good game. Serbia had a good win the other night. Obviously, Mitrovic started off the scoring. I fancy Serbia of the two, in all honesty. So.
Yeah, that should be a good game. Sweden didn't deserve to lose to Norway. Yeah. Steve, on to Friday. We're going to get the betting up. Now the punting starts. I've limited to a couple of games on Friday. There are 2 Group A games. And the first one is Austria against France. I couldn't believe Austria destroyed Croatia. But then Denmark was a good game. Denmark played well. France, I thought they would go out there and really outplay Croatia. But the last 10 minutes, they conceded. Steve, you see France playing their big guns this game and getting a result?
Well, again, like all the other teams, they've got to start. He's got to start picking out the strongest team because they don't have that more games available. So I think he probably will be a stronger team, and I think if he does, they should be favourites. But as you say, they haven't been particularly impressive in the first 2 games. So I think they should win it.
Yeah. You say this depends what side he plays, but I think they'll roll them. Now, Denmark have been in a roll since the Euros. They're a decent-looking team. I think they'll beat Croatia. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they'll be close. So this should be a good game. I think Denmark will certainly start as favourites, but I think it'll be close. But I fancy Denmark to win, but no more than a goal.
Yeah, I agree. Steve, on to Saturday. The Ukraine, who won last night, should be too good for Armenia, surely?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, Scotland were comfortable against them, from what I understand. I think Ukraine will win. I think, Ukraine will probably still kicking themselves for losing that game against Wales. But what I heard, and that they were played very well again last night, I think they will be definitely too strong. And I think they'll win by at least a couple of goals.
Yeah, I totally agree. The next game... Republic of Ireland versus Scotland. I think they've got the betting the wrong way around here, Steve. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Republic, you think there was a time when they were really strong at home, particularly.
Yeah.
Just are really struggling at the moment. They just can't seem to get any rhythm. I think Scott, by all accounts, they had played last night. I think of the two, definitely. I think for me, it's got favourites if there was to be a winner.
Yeah, tight game, but I can't believe the odds on the Scotland. Now, the Faroe Islands against Lithuania. Tight game, in my opinion. How do you see it, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, Lithuania were quite poor last weekend. I thought they'd do better than they did.
Yeah.
The Faroe Islands don't travel well, but at home they're a bit stronger. I think the Faroe Islands probably just edged that.
Okay, yeah, Lithuania conceded 2 goals in 10 games. On to our next page, Steve. We've got England against Italy. I don't know, I'm just not impressed with the defence of England. Italy played well against Germany, Steve. Do you think they can get something out of it?
Yeah, I think England want to, this is the first home of the three, and although it's close, I think that England are going to want to maybe, if they can sort of press on as they did from that second half performance, I think that they should be favourites. And they want to get a little bit of revenge after the Euros. So yeah. I fancy England, but I think it's a low-scoring game in England to edge it.
Yeah, Steve, I just get worried. I just think, we all talk about the English clubs, and rightly so, but Man City go everywhere and dominate. It's about time England did that. Looking at the 2 midfield players, Declan Rice and Phillips, or Bellingham now, it's time they win and dictated, Steve. Yeah, they're always in contention, but if they want to win the World Cup, they've got to dictate, and I'll be interesting to watch this game.
Well, I think that I'm not sure if Calvin Phillips will be fit because obviously he went off, and Jude Bellingham is looking, coming on and looking very mature. When you think, how young he is. So it'd be interesting to see whether or not Gareth decides to start with him, or he picks one of the sort of more experienced players. But so it's possible we might see Bellingham start and possibly Grealish start as well. But I think it'll be a bit more exciting if he does that.
Yeah, I think he's got to have a full go. He's got to learn about his players, and what better way to test them against the Italians. Now, Hungary hosts Germany. Hungary obviously beat England. Dubious penalty, in my opinion. The Germans, I don't really know what to make. I know Hansi Flick's got a lot of youngsters, but I think they'll beat Hungary, Steve. How do you see it?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't overly impressed with Hungary. I mean, England didn't play well, but Hungary were there for the beating, really. I think Germany should be too strong, with the players they've got. If they play as they did in the first half against England, I think they'll go to Hungary and get a result. Maybe Hungary could hold them, but I think Germany should start as favourites for that.
Yeah, totally agree with you. Now, the Netherlands, I watched the game against Wales last night. Both teams put squad teams out by 1 or 2 players, and I expect them to play their best team, and I think they'll destroy Poland. Steve, how do you see it?
Yeah, definitely. I think that, Poland collapsed against Belgium last night, and I think, as you say, if Netherlands put out their strongest available team, as they did pretty much against Belgium, I think that they should win that.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the next game, I don't know. Wales will more than likely play their best team against a Belgium team who beat Poland 6-1 last night. I still fancy the Belgium. Steve, how do you see it?
Yeah, I do, definitely. I mean, Wales, my understanding is they were partying quite hard after qualifying. I think Belgium will go there and get a result for me. I'd be very surprised if Wales get anywhere close to them.
Yeah, now we go on to Nations League C, and Montenegro against Bosnia. I think bookings look a formality in this game, Steve, but what's your thoughts on the outcome?
Yeah, Montenegro are not a bad side at home.
Yeah.
I think that they've got probably better than an even chance of getting a result.
Yeah, if I was of the two, I'd be going the draw, but I don't think we'll have that game on, but really tough for those two teams. On to our next page, we've got Romania have lost their opening 2 games, but those were both away from home, against the Finland side who've won 1 and drawn 1, Steve. I always go for Romania at home. You think I'm right?
Yeah, I think so. I think at home they probably a little bit too strong. But the sounds of it, they were pretty disappointing in both their away games.
Yeah.
But decent results. They don't travel that well. We've got 1 or 2 players that we know well, like Pukki, but I wouldn't be surprised if Finland hold them. But I think I'd be surprised. If it was to be a winner, I'd go to the home team.
Yeah, and I'm sure you think Turkey, I can't believe they're in the Nations Group C. They should be too good for Luxembourg, surely?
Yeah, I mean Luxembourg, are obviously better than they used to be, but I think Turkey should be too strong. And I think you're right. I mean, in the past, Turkey should definitely be in the Group B at the very least. So I think that they need to win their games and get themselves back up there. So I think, yeah, of the two, I think Turkey are favourites.
Yeah, I remember watching them in the World Cup playoffs against Portugal. The guy missed a penalty that would have put it all square. But they've sorted themselves out at the back, and they've cruised the previous games. 4-10 should be on your multiples. Now, I can't get my head around Northern Ireland. They just can't seem to score a goal, Steve. And on that assumption, it's hard to see them beating Cyprus, even though Cyprus are poor.
Yeah, I mean, Cyprus are poor. They don't travel well. I think at home, I think Northern Ireland may just about edge it, but say they can't seem to buy a goal at the moment. Lost to Greece recently. I think it'll be close, but I think it'll be a really low-scoring game. But I think Northern Ireland might just edge it.
Yeah, just bear in mind, guys, that there are games on Thursday night. So these Sunday games, a lot of the teams are playing on Thursday. Our next game is Norway, who have started off great. I watched them against Sweden. They hung on for dear life and ended up winning 2-1. This will be a good game, Steve. This even money Norway I won't be taking. I think there'll be goals in this. This could go either way. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think Haaland is obviously showing what he's capable of, and I think they might just edge it. I think it'll be a close game, but they might just edge it.
Yeah, so Norway plays Slovenia tonight, and Sweden plays Serbia. Now, I got this game totally wrong last week. I went for Bulgaria to win at home with their fine record. Georgia thrashed them 5-2 at home. I know they both play tonight, but Georgia, surely you've got to fancy their chances at home.
You would think so. I mean, you do get some, but that was pretty convincing, and you'd think that ultimately you'd think the Georgia would be too strong. Yeah. I don't know what sort of side Bulgaria put out last, whether or not they've got any players tonight. If not, you'd fancy the home team.
Yeah, I know Bulgaria played Gibraltar, so they may rest a few. On to our next page, where North Macedonia hosting Gibraltar, 1-25 gives it away. Any chance Gibraltar can score, Steve?
They have, they have scored the odd goal.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the result shouldn't be in any. It's going to be three or four deficit.
Yeah.
Thing. It'd be good for them if they score. I mean, the odds are incredible. You don't really see 1-25 or 44 for 1.
I think it's a cricket score.
As you say, that gives it away. It gives it away a bit. But you're right. I mean, maybe be interesting to see what the odds would be on Gibraltar scoring. Yeah. But I think they'll ship a few. Look, they try hard. They haven't got any strength in depth at all. But but they are game, and in quite a few of their qualifying games. Euros, they were in contention for a little bit.
Yeah.
They all ultimately lost their games, but they don't concede a lot in the games they play. They just don't have much to about them. So I think North Macedonia probably about 3 or 4 nil to me.
Yeah, well, they won 2-0 in Gibraltar, so you've got to fancy them to roll them at least by a couple of goals. Now, Spain, the Czech Republic. I watched this last game. Spain equalised late. I didn't think the ball went over the line until they showed the goal line technology. It was a good game. The Czech Republic gave them a hard time. The only problem I find with the Czech Republic, Steve, is they haven't got a big squad, where while Spain rested 8 players, they'll be a lot fresher. Do you think Spain, who play Switzerland tonight, will be too good for them?
I think they will. I mean, the Swiss have not had a very good Nations campaign.
Yeah.
They're better. To me, on their day, they're a decent side. I just wonder if Spain are playing a stronger team, the strongest team, or available, that they should win that. So for me, the Swiss could hold them, but I think Spain will be favourites.
Sorry, Steve. No, that was Sunday's fixture. Sorry, you've got it up. Spain, the Czech Republic. Sorry, Steve. My mistake.
Sorry, Spain. No. Then I think at home Spain will be too strong. Okay. As you say, I mean the Czech Republic played well against them last week, but I think in the reverse fixture Spain should edge them.
Switzerland, Portugal. I'll stop watching it after the first 10 minutes. Portugal beat them 4-0 at the end. I think Portugal may rest a few players. Can Switzerland cause an upset, Steve?
Well, I think think that's the key. If Portugal decide to players, then yes, the Swiss, at home can do that. If Portugal are going to play their strongest available team, then you fancy them. So I think it's very much going to be about the strength of the team that Portugal put out.
Yeah.
On their day, the Swiss, can match most teams.
Yeah.
Europe at home, as they have done in the Euros and the qualifiers. So I think a caveat is, for me, Portugal, if they play their stronger side, otherwise the Swiss can definitely hold them or even beat them.
Yeah, I think there'll be goals in that particular game, Steve. Just go, Switzerland at home, they are dangerous. But I think there will be goals, but be hard to see past Portugal. Now, 2 games to go, Steve. Slovenia against your adopted Serbian team with Mitrovic leading the helm. I know Serbia destroyed them 4-1 at home. Do you think they'll beat them again?
Yeah, I think they will. But again, we don't know if they're going to decide to rest 1 or 2. Obviously, with sort of more games to go still, teams can't afford to take the foot off the gas if they want to progress in the Nations League. I think if Serbia play their strongest available side, they should win again. I think there'll be goals, but I fancy Serbia of the 2.
Okay, and last but not least, Steve, Greece versus Kosovo. Kosovo always seemed to be a competitive side. This will be a tight game. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right, but I think Greece should edge it. I think Greece will probably just be a little bit too strong, and I think they'll come out on top.
Yeah, they won 1-0 in Kosovo, but you say it'll be a very tight game. Steve, pressure time as always. I need your best bet and value bet, please.
I'm going to go for Belgium as my best bet. Okay. I think that they're that they, assuming they play the side that won last night, I think that they'll be too strong. And I think for my value bet, I think I'm going to go for Scotland. I think that I think somehow they got the odds, as you said. I think the odds are a little bit the wrong way around, and I think Scotland will want to bounce back from the defeat to Ukraine. They did last night. I think they want to do it again. So those are my 2.
All right, Steve, I hate to tell you this, but I've got the exact 2. So hopefully it's not great minds think alike, not fools never differ, as Paul would remind us. Anyway, Steve, thanks again, and we'll speak over the weekend.
Pleasure.
All the best.
Okay, cheers, bud.
Thank
you.
Bye. Guys, Bafana start our AFCON campaign in Rabat, which is the capital of Morocco. The odds will come up shortly. It's 6-10 Morocco, 29-10 the draw, and Bafana are 54-10. I hate to say it, but I don't see us winning. If we can get a point, it would be a good result. Morocco's last 10 home games, they've won 9 and drawn 1. The only draw was with the Ivory Coast, where haven't been impressed with us of late. So let's hope our guys can get a result. But to be honest, I think 6-10 Morocco is a good thing. We have the PSL promotion relegation games going on. After a couple of games, University of Pretoria have 5 points from 3 games. Swallows have 4 points from 2 games. And Cape Town All-Stars have 1 point from 3 matches. So they can't get can't get promoted. The big game this week is on Saturday in Cape Town. Cape Town All-Stars 21-10. The draw is 21-10. And I think Swallows to win at 12-10 is a good bet. They beat them 2-1 at home. And I think with all the pressure on Swallows and with Cape Town All-Stars having nothing to play, I'm going to chance the Birds. On to our exotics for the weekend. They're all on Saturday. And our first soccer 6, I'm going Morocco Swallows, win and draw against Cape Town All-Stars. I'm going the field and the Faroe Islands Lithuania game. I'm bankering Scotland to win in the Republic of Ireland. I'm going the field in the Montenegro Bosnia-Herzegovina clash. I don't see Romania losing at home to Finland, and I think Germany would be too good for Hungary, 2-1-6. On to our second soccer 6. I'm going Italy, win and draw England, win and draw against Italy. I don't see Belgium losing against Wales. I think Atletico Mineiro will be too good for Santos. I've gone the field in their QE-Arba RB Bragantino fixture. I'm bankering Fluminense to beat Atletico Goianiense, and I'm going the field in the Internacional Flamengo clash, 2-1-6. On to the soccer 10. I'm going Morocco Swallows to avoid defeat against Cape Town All-Stars. I'm banking the Ukraine to beat Armenia. I'm going Kordrenga, win and draw at Vestri. I don't see the Faroe Islands losing at home to Lithuania. I'm banking HK Kosovo to beat Thor Akirira. On to the second page. I'm going Scotland to be too strong for Republic of Ireland. I've thrown the draw in with England at home against Italy. I don't see Montenegro losing at home against Bosnia-Herzegovina. Likewise, Romania to avoid defeat at home against Finland. And in the MLS, I'm chancing the New York Red Bulls to avoid defeat against Charlotte FC 256. On to the soccer 13 for Saturday. I'm going England win and draw against Italy. I'm banking the Germans to be too strong for Hungary. I think the Netherlands will outclass Poland. I'm going Belgium win and draw against Wales. Scotland, I think, will be too good for the Republic of Ireland, and I'm chancing Romania to be too strong for Finland. Montenegro win and draw at home against Bosnia-Herzegovina. On to the second page, I'm going the Faroe Islands to avoid defeat against Lithuania. I'm banking Turkey to beat Luxembourg, Girona to beat Tenerife, and ending up in Sweden. There's 3 Eton matches. I'm going Sandvikens win and draw at Karlstad. I don't see Falkensburg losing at home against Tavakas, as Luginskiel win and draw at home against Angel Homes 256. On to our budgies bets for the weekend. I'm going Scotland to beat the Republic of Ireland. I'm going the Netherlands to beat Poland by more than 1 goal, and over 2.5 goals in the Hungary-Germany clash, 2,700 to 200. On to Sunday, I'm going Georgia to beat Romania. I'm going over 2.5 goals and both teams to score yes in the Norway-Sweden fixture, and over 2.5 goals and both teams to score no in the Malta-San Marino game, 2,800 to 200. Our team goals only, I'm going France, Scotland, Germany and the Netherlands, all to score over 1.5 goals, 2,500 to 200. My both teams to score sides are Denmark, Croatia, England, Italy, Norway, Sweden, and Switzerland, Portugal, 2,600 to 200. On to Brazil, where we're going to go for a treble. I'm going Corinthians to be too strong for Juventude. I'm going Sao Paulo to win and both teams to score against America Mineiro, and over 2.5 goals in the Atletico Mineiro Santos match, 2,200 to 200. And our Colos King, 6 or Nixa, I'm going Ukraine to beat Armenia, Germany to beat Hungary, Netherlands to beat Poland, Turkey to beat Luxembourg, Georgia to beat Romania, and Spain to beat the Czech Republic on Sunday, 2,200 to 200. Thank you for watching another OnsideSA soccer show, and please remember to stay onside.